الحجر 24 ساعة.
والله ما في أي انبساط يا دكتور.
والله الله يرفع عنا يا رب. الواحد يحس بالنعمة أول كان يروح هنا
أيوه.
وهنا، الحين خلاص. هشام، ال- الرمز هذا اللي أنت مختاره إيش هذا؟ كوكب من الفضاء ولا شخص ولا إيش؟ ولا نحن هنتحول مع كورونا كده؟ الله يجيرنا. أنا أول ما أفتح أشوفه أقول بسم الله.
كأنه من فيلم أو شيء.
وشكله بردان كمان، لابس جاكيت.
إيه، هو في الصحراء باين، بس أدري عنه.
أيوه. بيبي يودا هذا شكله يعني في فيلم أو شيء. نعم.
شكله كذا.
طيب. طيب هو هذا. لسه باقي دقيقتين. نحن وقفنا عند الفي بي ان. ها.
أظن إيه.
مم. طيب الله يسهل. اختبرتوا شيء نهاية ولا لسه؟ بعض
لا لسه.
الدكاترة يحبوا يخلصوا بدري.
أنا الآن لا لسه. بس
مم.
يعني في عندي مادة دكتور طالب بدال النهائي، يعني بروجكت زي كذا،
مم.
فتسليمه قريب بعد بكرة.
الله يسهل إن شاء الله.
الجميع.
ولما تكون أنت يعني لوحدك ممكن تحط أكثر من اختيار. فمدام بعد بكرة يعني عنده وقت يصحح فيه. يا مربان يكون عندي اختبار. الله يعينك يا هشام. يكون عنده، بس ما حتعملوا برزنتيشن. طيب الله معك. ها حسام، يعني بدون برزنتيشن المشروع.
إلا في له برزنتيشن.
مم. يعني طوالي في نفس اليوم بعد بكرة.
لا، قال بعدها بيوم زي كذا.
عشان يطلع. طيب.
اي عشان طلع
آه،
يمكن وبعدين.
طيب. طيب بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. نحن وقفنا عند الفي بي ان. الفي بي ان اللي خلانا نحطه مع الفاير وول افضل مكان له عشان يشتغل. يمكن قلناها لما تكلمنا انه الفاير وول اوسو كان ايش؟ كان بروتكت السيرفيس اللي هي ما هي في نفسها. شغلت الشاشة يا هشام؟ ما اشتغلت؟
ما اشتغلت.
اوكي. لا لا، اسف. انا ما انا عملت تكبير من عندي بس ما عملت شيرنج. خلاص. بدينا نفوت. طيب. آه الآن بانت صح؟
ايوه.
طيب. فإذا الفي بي ان موضوعه هنا مع الفاير وول، قلنا يعني تكلمنا قبل إنه الفاير وول كان سبورت النون سكيورتي سيرفيس. اوكي. ولانه الفي بي ان يعني يوفر انكريبشن، بس ما يمدي ايش يعمل ديفنس فور اتسيلف. فاذا البيست بليس فور الفي بي ان انه with ايش with the firewall. So the VPN is implemented by the البروتوكول يسمى الاي بي سيك، الاي بي security in the firewall. So هنا عندنا more than one side of the organization. اوكي. هذا عندنا هنا في سايت. اوكي. وهنا عندنا سايت اخر. خلينا نقول هذه كمثال السليمانية، وهنا كمثال الكامل. اوكي. and here we have a student. خلينا نقول. So we need them to connect. This is the main يعني the main campus. We need Kamil and the student to connect in secure way with the main campus. Okay. So the best solution and this what is called techniques is make them is like they are in the same site. يعني it's not like an SSL is sending something through the transport layer. No, this is a communication open, and make them as they as if they are working on the same main campus. So this is the VPN. Usually for the big site, I mean for يعني let me say a branch or the main campus, we install the IPsec in the firewall. So firewall with the IPsec, firewall of the with the IPsec. And for the commuter or student or كمثال salesperson, he need a computer with supporting the IPsec. And the IPsec, the benefit of using IPsec was that we can use the public internet. So if this is the university does not need to what? To digging انه تحفر ايش؟ تحفر كمثال جدة إلى الكامل وتسوي ايش؟ and making يعني the university cable. This is cost كبير جدا حيكلف الجامعة. فthe best way is what? Is to use the public, or we can use if there is a private that like STC or Zen or Mobile, or the internet, which is free like what we use now. Okay, so to connect all the people to the main branch, or they can access each other. Okay, so this is the benefit of the VPN, the virtual private networks, and it's famous. And usually they said that we make a tunnel in the internet. There is no any tunnel, no any hole. It's just encryption. Okay, so the virtual private network in today's distributed computing environment. Usually the computing is distributed for like the university has a branch here in the Suleimaniya, and a branch in Faisaliya, for example, and a branch in Al Kamil, in the other ones in Khles, I think, and then Rabiq. So this is the distributed computing environment. So that the virtual private network offers an attractive solution to network manager. So the network manager, instead of taking what is called a big job to connect these different sites, he only needs to what? To use the VPN. The VPN consists of a set of computers that are interconnected by means of a relatively unsecure network. So we can use what? Unsecure network? The internet. It is an unsecure network, and that make use of encryption. So the VPN is only make use of encryption and a special protocol to provide security through the IPsec protocol. So at each corporate site, this is a site and this is site, okay? Workstation, here is a workstation, okay, and server and database are linked by one or more local area network. So we can connect them as if they connected like on a local area network. So the internet or some other public network can be used to what? To interconnect these sites, providing a cost saving. So instead, as I said, instead the university spend a big money to make its own network, use the public network, and that will save a lot of money. So offer the use of private network. If the public is offer, so we don't need to pay any money or any rent to the private network, like as I said, like STC network. So and then offloading the wide area network. So also we take out of our brain the what is called the nightmare, the management. يعني حنطلع من راسنا قضية إدارة الوان network, because in one can offer ايش or cover different between cities or between or over the country, and this is need a management. So if you use the public, this is will be offloading. يعني حتاخذ من راسك، ما عاد حتاخذ هم لقضيه اداره ايش؟ اداره الوان. So offloading the wide area network management task، واللي هو ما هو سهل، to the public network provider. خلاص خلي انا استخدم الببليك نتورك والببليك كل جهه تدير يعني زي ما الان الانترنت عباره عن اكثر من نتورك، وكل جهه تدير نتورك حقتها، ما عدا شيء الهمنا. اوكي. That same public network provide an access path for telecommuters. So if there is a guy is not in office, he's using a cars, or يعني he is not in fixed place. He used his laptop or mobile. So also the public network can offer the telecommuters and other mobile employees to log onto the corporate system from a remote site. So they can also access what the corporate site. Okay. So where we can place the IPsec with in the firewall. So placing or place of IPsec implementing VPNs. So here is the conclusion. A logical means of implementing an IPsec is in firewall. So the best place is in firewall. Okay. So we'll talk about two different scenarios. So the following two locations are not secure. We know that the secure or the best place is inside the firewall. Here we can put the VPN, the IPsec. So if IPsec is implemented in a separate box behind the internal behind the firewall. So this is the first scenario. We have here the firewall. Okay, and this is the outside. This is untrusted. Here it is the inside, and we have the VPN as a separate box, and we place it here behind internal to internal. So now this is the scenario. Then the VPN traffic, what will do for the firewall? Will pass through the firewall. We know that the traffic of the VPN is encrypted. Okay, so will pass through the firewall in both direction, which is encrypted. So in this case, what vulnerability will do these packets? The firewall is unable to perform its filtering function. Why? Because the packet is encrypted, or other security function such as access control, logging, scanning of for files. So this is the first situation. We have here the VPN, and this is the firewall, and this is and here is the untrusted. So the packets will go through the firewall in both direction, and firewall cannot do anything. Why? Because the packet is encrypted. So this is the first scenario. The second scenario, here the firewall. Okay. And we have the VPN is in the untrusted network in the front of the firewall. So IPsec could be implemented in the boundary router, okay, outside the firewall. However, this device is likely to be less secure. Why? As we said, that the VPN is doing encryption but cannot defend itself. ما يمدي يدافع عن نفسه. ما يمدي يشيك على cannot inspect the packets. So only do the encryption. So if we place the VPN in front of the firewall, so the VPN it's less secure than the firewall, and thus less desirable as an IPsec platform. So then will be what will be attacked from outside, and they can take over or can shut down the VPN service. So the best place is to be inside the firewall. Okay, Shabab? We come back to our firewall configuration. We just talk about the VPN. So here is the distributed firewall. Okay, it's almost like the scenario that we said that we can install in front of the server and workstation in the internal only, what a separate or a host edge firewall. But here we install on all devices, even in the DMZ, a host firewall. Also, we create another, what is called another DMZ network. We call it external DMZ network. Why we use this one? Now there is a concept or a theme. Do not stand in front of the attacker. يعني لا توقف قدام الاتاكر. Just forward its packets. يعني انت اكتشفت انه you discover that this is a packet is not genuine packet. It is packets from attacker. So it's the best way to just forward this packet to another to other places. So here we can do like a web server in an external DMZ network, which is outside the external firewall. And if the packets come here, and we know that the packets, the boundary router, it has the surface like routing surface, and there's a table. So if these packets come from spacious area, from area that usually most people attacks, or they create a packets to attack service. So if we check that these packets come from a certain area, we can just forward this one here. So if there is anything happen to our external DMZ network, we can just what is called restore, and that's it. So this scenario has an internal DMZ and external DMZ with a distributed host firewall. Okay, Shabab? So we come here to explain distributed firewall configuration involve a standalone firewall. Okay, this is the standalone. Okay, devices plus host-based firewall. Okay, sorry, the standalone is this one, and as I said, this is the host-based firewall. Okay, working together under central administration control. All these firewall, the standalone and the hosted, is run or controlled from a central, for example, workstation. Okay, so Figure 2.5 suggests a distributed firewall configuration. Administrator can configure what the host resistance firewall, resident firewall, not resident firewall on hundreds of servers. So if we have hundreds of host based firewall or host resident firewall, so the administrator can access all of them, and also workstation, as well as configure the personal firewall on local and remote user system. So the administrator has a full control on all the servers, on all the firewall. Tools, so he will use tools, let the network administrator set policy and monitor security across the entire network. So he apply or she apply all the policy on all what is called the firewall, either the standalone or the host resident firewall or host based firewall. Okay, and can monitor. It's not an easy job. So now it is what is called difficult. The host resident firewall protect against internal attacks. Why we install these devices? So we need to protect this server, from attacks come from other server or from other workstation, and provide protection tailored. Okay, and also we have another benefit. If this one need a special rules, we can add a special policy rules here. So tailored يعني a special tools can be configured for this server, not for the other. This one has a special has, for example, a student data. So we need a more protection, a more filter rules. So we can add more policy rules here. Okay, so we can tailor it to specific machines and applications. So we can add a policy that is suited to that use of that machine and also application. So the standalone firewall provide global protection like the external and internal, including internal firewall and an external firewall, as discussed previously. Okay, so with the distributed firewall, it may make sense to establish both an internal and external DMZ. So this point said that for a special configuration, firewall configuration, if we know that if we use a distributed firewall, we can create an external what DMZ, okay, network, and web server that need a less protection because they have less critical information. وهذا صحيح, is correct, on them could be placed in external DMZ. Any server that has a less protection or uncritical or less critical information, we can place them in the DMZ, external DMZ, outside the external firewall. What protection is needed is provided by what? Any protection that the external DMZ need will provide by the host base firewall or host resident firewall. Okay, so by host base firewall on this server. Okay, and an important aspect of a distributed firewall configuration is security monitoring. So usually when you do firewall, you need to do monitor. Such monitoring typically include log aggregation. So we have now, like, for example, like 100 host-based firewall, and we have two standalone. So we need to do what to do to bring all the log, and not just we didn't need only just bring all the log. No, we need to combine them, do aggregation. Aggregation معناه يتجمع. All the log need to be in one file or on one database. So we can do what? We can do analysis. Okay. And also we can do statistics and fine grained remote monitoring or individual hosts if needed. And we can also, if when we do monitoring, we see there is some vulnerability. We can go to, for example, to this server and add, for example, special or as you said that a special policy to make this hole or this attack does not exist. So we need to do log. So we have here log, we have log here, we have log here, we have log here. So we need to bring all of them and also make them under one database so we can do analysis and as we see also do some statistical work. We know how many traffic come from China, from India, from America. Also, we see if there is any suspicious attacks or buckets. Okay, Shabab. So this is done with all the configuration of firewall. Here it's just like terminology. We'll say what is the host resident firewall, what is the screening router, what is the single patient online. So the following alternatives can be identified. So it's almost like a new what is called firewall configuration, but with the same techniques that or same terminology that we use. So this is the first one, host resident firewall. We know that the host resident is the host space. It's the single firewall that can be installed in front of server or on front of the workstation. So he said including personal firewall. So the personal firewall, that's the one, it's in its computer software, and firewall software on server, used alone or as a part of an in-depth firewall deployment. So this is a new terminology. Said the host resident firewall. Either it is a single or personal firewall, or with the firewall software on server, they can be used each one separate than each other, or we can do like a deployment by using both of them as a defense for our network. This is the host resident firewall. The screening router, a single router between internal and external network with stateless or full packets filtering. So this is another configuration. We have a router between internal and external network. Okay, and on that router we have what, either traditional packet filter or the stateful packet filter. He said, I mean, we have a new terminology. Instead of said traditional, is stateless or stateful. So stateless, that means the symbol, and the full packet, that's stateful. So if we use that, we call it screening router. So the router is like, as we explain what the screen is, like something we need to look and to monitor. So we can use this screening router in a small office or home. يعني for example, in your home, you can bring a router and install on that router firewall, software firewall. So this is we call screening router. And usually the office and small office, home office, is can be a brief with Soho. So Soho means small office, home office. Okay. So this is where we can use the screening router. There is another one called single passion inline, a single firewall device between internal and external router. Okay, we have two router, and there is a firewall between them. The firewall may implement stateful filter, okay, and or application proxies. Okay, so this is the typical firewall appliance configuration for a small to medium size organization. So we have a firewall between two router, and on that router we can use either packet filter or what, or the, as you said here, the application. So if we have this configuration, it's called single passion inline. And this is can be implemented on a small organization or medium sized organization. Okay, Shabab? There is another terminology called single passion tree. So this is like we have a branch. T mean branching. So this similar to a single passion inline. It's almost like this one. Okay, similar to single passion inline, but has a third network interface on a passion to DMZ. So here we have two. We have internal and external. So now we have another branch, which is we can place a DMZ. Okay, where externally visible server, as we explained, DMZ, which can be seen by outside. So this is what it's called single passion T. This is a common appliance, okay, configuration for medium and large organizations. So corporate that which is almost medium and large can use the single passion T. Passion T. Here we have double passion online. In this configuration, where the DMZ is sandwiched between passion firewall. Okay, we have two passion. Okay, and the DMZ is between the two passion firewall. So this configuration is common for what? for large business and government organization. So now you have like an idea. يعني just here is just an explanation what is that, but you can if you so for example now inshallah after you graduate you did they ask you to what to see what is the best configuration. So now you have like a hint. If there's a government, this is best configuration for firewall. You can go and make a search for double passion online, or you can see training on the YouTube. So this is a good information. Now we have here double passion T. It's like the single, but this is double. The DMZ is on a separate network interface on the Passion firewall. This configuration is also common for large business and government organization and may be required. So almost this one, as said by the ending, may be required, is required for large business and government. Here is said that we can use double passion online. The most used is double passion T. So the DMZ is linked to the passion firewall, okay, and we have another passion that is what is protected the inside network. We already explained distributed firewall configuration. This configuration is used by some large business. So most of the large business and government, they also can use the distributed firewall configuration. Okay, now we're done with the firewall chapter. Is there any question?
تمام يا دكتور.
طيب نروح للديجيتال سيجنتشر. اوكي واضحة يا دكتور. طيب شكرا يا عبد الرحمن. انا كنت خايف تقول لي واضحة يا دكتورة، بس شفت واضحة بعدين وراها دكتور قلنا خلاص ما يحتاج. طيب بنروح للديجيتال سيجنتشر. انا ماني عارف معاكم هل كملنا الماك ولا ما كملنا الماك شابتر؟
افكه كده يا دكتور بس يمكن.
من عيوني هذا الماك، هذا الماك، وعرفنا ايش
لا
اللهم
ما
صل
اظن ما اظن
ما
خشينا.
كيف ما خشينا؟ الا خشينا بس انه وقفنا في مكان محدد. ها هشام عادة هو مرجعنا. الحبر حقتنا هشام. ها هشام اتش ماك تكلمنا عنه، الاتش ماك والكي هاش، وليش استخدمنا الكي هاش؟ عشان الهاش سريعه ونبغى نسويها زي الماك، بس الماك يستخدم كي. فكان هذه ما افتكر فين بالضبط صراحه. طيب نخليه في الاخير اذا يعني عادة انا اعمل علامه، اعمل بس هذيك مره ما سويت. طيب يعني انا فاكر انه عدينا هذه الاشياء مع الشعبه الاولى الاتش ماك محمد. اوكي I think we stop here اللي ما قال محمد. So
ممكن.
we'll start with different what is called form of Mac, which by using the key hash. So after we finish, inshallah, let me say what is called digital signature. We can go to that. So if we make a little speed, what is called explanation, we can finish digital signature is easy. So this is the digital signature. We have looked at message authentication. The message authentication is like the hash and the MAC. قفل الميكروفون حسام. Okay. شكرا. So we talk about the message authentication. So what about the message, the party or the entity message? And also the message authentication does not provide the issue of lack of trust. So if we know, we already said that if the hash is that being created by the receiver is equal the hash that come with the message, So that's mean the message is correct. And also we can authenticate the sender. We said that this is what is called the right sender or the right person. Is not an attacker. But we need to I mean, this is only authentication. So what about the trust? The trust is different than authentication. The trust is like when you a guy said, "I need to borrow a money from you." If you know that guy, you can say, "Okay, this is the money." If you don't know, we said, "Really, sorry, I cannot because I don't know. I don't know you." So you don't know him. That's mean the trust is zero. If your friend that's usually you sit with him and talk with him, the trust is almost like 80, 90, 100. So we need something to deal with the lack of trust. So this one can be offered by the digital signature. Why? Because digital signature provide the ability to what? To verify the author, the one who send and create and also sign, and also verify the date and the time of the signature. Okay. Also, by authenticate the signature, also you authenticate the message contents. If you receive a digital signature from me and you verify my digital signature and find that is fine, is correct, that's mean the message is correct, that the one I assign on. Because when I create the digital signature, usually I make my assign on a message. Okay, and also can be verified by third party to resolve dispute. If there is any dispute, مشاكل أو خصام صار happen between two, and there is a third party like هيئة الاتصالات. Okay, the telecommunication ministry, and the telecommunication issued for all the people in Saudi Arabia a certificate. Certificates, when, as we inshallah will explain in the last chapter, this one is said that you are the person who possess or possess the تمتلك ايش الببليك key. Okay, this is the only things the certificate says. Said this person is he is the owner of the public key. Okay, and also this one said you are the owner of the private key. So if you send something and the other one he went and saw you اشتكاك, so the هيئة الاتصالات can say if that is sent by you or not by verifying what is called your private key by through the certificate. Okay, so here this is the three benefit of digital signature. So also the digital signature include authentication function with additional capabilities. So the digital signature is authenticate the party, also authenticate the message content, and يعني can also has another capabilities, additional capabilities. So this is a brief introduction of the digital signature. So here, the first scenario, Bob need to send his digital signature, so he bring the message and insert it to the digital signature generation algorithm. Okay, and he use his private key. So this is Bob signature for the message. Okay, and the message then sent with the digital signature, as we explained in when we start with public key lecture. We said it's not good to send the digital signature without encryption, because anyone you know your public key can open the digital signature and also open the message. So you need to what? To encrypt the digital signature with the recipient public key. Okay, but here we explain the digital signature. So this is the what is called the digital signature model. So when Alice received the digital signature and the message, so Alice used the digital signature verification algorithm and she inserts the digital signature, pub digital signature, and also the message, and also the pub public key. Okay, and the digital signature verification algorithm will return signature valid or not valid. So if valid, that's mean the digital signature for pub is not valid. That's mean maybe the attacker or intruder intercept the message and change the message or change the signature and then send it to Alice. So this is the first model. The second model, we can use the hash, and this is the best model. Instead of we assign on a message, because we said the digital signature is a public key, and public key is big, so it's difficult to do encryption and as we did here, or sign on a message. So this is the best scenario. We bring the message, so we insert the message to one of the hash algorithm, cryptographic hash function. Okay. Okay, so that will produce the hash. Then we can use RSA because this is an encryption. This is what is called algorithms for a digital signature. It's like RSA, not sorry, DSA, digital signature algorithms. If you remember that table, we said RSA and Elliptic can be used for encryption, for key exchange, for digital signature. And only the DSA can be used for digital signature. And Diffie-Hellman is only can be used for key exchange. So this is the using or creating a digital signature with the digital signature algorithm. Here we can use any encryption algorithm like Jamal, elliptic curve, RSA. So after we create the hash, we encrypt the hash with the private key, and we already said that any use for private key is a digital signature. So Bob create his what digital signature for the message. So Bob sent that to Alice. Okay. So now Alice, what she need to do? She need to create a same hash. So she use the message, insert it to cryptographic hash function, and she produce the hash, her hash. Okay, and she use the signature of what of the pub and use the decryption. Why? Because the hash is encrypted with the private. So she need to decrypt, use the same algorithm decryption, okay, for the digital signature and use the pub's public key. So now we got an H dash. Why H dash? We are until now we are not sure if that is the same like the hash been sent or something else. So we call it H dash. So after Alice create H dash or decrypt the H dash, she will compare that, and if they both is compared, so that's mean is a valid digital signature for pub, or not compare, so that's mean something wrong, something happened before the Alice received the message. This is how we can use the digital signature or create user digital signature with any encryption algorithm.
دكتور،
ايوه حسام. اه
هل الديجيتال سيجنتشر هنا برضه فيه له التاريخ؟
الديجيتال سيجنتشر كله كان يعني كان يعني keep dates and time, because this
كل
is a function. يعني it is algorithms can يعني any algorithm can keep the system dates and time. So yes, it can provide the time and the dates.
تمام.
Okay, Shabab. So
اوكي.
this is the two different scenario. So what is the attacks that and forgers that can be used or can be attacked the digital signature? We have I will use the comments to explain this one. So we have five different of attack. Key only attack, known message attack, generic choosing message attack, direct choosing message attack. So we have a C, which is the attacker, and A is the one who will sign the message, and C donates to the attacker. So what is the attacker? He wants to attack the digital signature for A. So we have five different scenario for the attacks. The first one's the attacker is called key only attacks. That's mean the attacker only knows the public key of A. Okay. The second one called knowing message attacks. So what this mean? C is given access to a set of message and signature. It's only message. Okay, so he can access a set of message and signature, but there is no any relation between the signature and the message. It's only different message and different signature. So he can do his analysis to all these five what attacks. The attacker need to know the private key. Why? Because he want to do a fake digital signature, or he can sign like A. طيب, what is the generic choosing message attacks? The generic that mean is general. I mean, we can use it for any guy, or we can attack with this scenario with any person. It's not only for A. So C, choose a list of messages before what attempting to break a signature scheme. So this is the first explanation. So C, he choose a number of messages, okay, and he will use these messages to break the A signature. And also he does not know the public key of of A. So this is why called generic. He does not know. Oh, sorry, I remember that. We'll go here. So this is the generic. He does not know where the pin. Okay. So the attacker select a number of what where we are in generic. He choose a list of message, and before he tried to break the A signature, and also independent that he does not know the public key of A. So C then obtains, after he select the message, then he obtains a valid signature. So after he select a message, he, for example, by any means, he send this message to A, and A sign on one or two or three of the message. So he obtains a form A valid signature for choosing messages. Maybe all of that message that he select, he make the A to sign on this message. The attacker is generic because why they call it a generic? Because it does not depend on all public key. So can be used the same attack is can be used against everyone. So this is why we call it generic. Okay. The fourth one called direct choosing message. Okay, attack. This is the opposite of generic. Here the attacker does not know the public key of A. In direct, he knows the public key. So similar to the generic attack, except that the list of the message is chosen after C knows a public key. So only this is the difference between the generic and direct. And the last one called adaptive. Adaptive mean he first he knows one information, and after that he use that information to learn another information, and also use that information to learn a new information. Adaptive means تدريجي. So adaptive choosing message attack. This is the name of the attack. So C is allowed to use A as an oracle. So the C can use A to get any information for any means. I mean, if you, for example, the attacker works with the A, and he used A to give him the information to make his attack. He want to attack A. A is like, for example, in a higher position than the C. So he asked him to sign this paper to give him this information. Why? Because he want to fork the A digital signature. So this means that A may request signature of messages that depend on previously obtained message signature pairs. Okay, so either A or C, anyone can yeah, ask for either A can ask for a signature that been signed before, or C can ask A to sign. So this is like a direct, or there is a good relationship between C and A, and C use A to increase his knowledge. Okay, so this is the five type of what of attack. So the paper called Gold 88 defines success as breaking signature scheme as an outcome in which C can do any of the following with one negligible probability. So if the C success to use any one of these five attacks, and he knows the private key of what? Of the A. So what is the outcome of that? The outcome can be one of the three. Okay? Either the total attack, that's mean he can't sign any message, or selective forgery, he can sign number of message, okay, or extensional forgery, he can sign only at least one. So if the C what's called success to knows the private key, he can use that to what? To do the fork signature to for A. So either total attack C determines A private key. It's called universal forgery. C finds an efficient signing algorithm that provides an equivalent way for constructing signature on arbitrary message. Any message, he can make us the signature of A. Selective forgery, C forks a signature for particular message chosen by C. Extensional forgery, C forks a signature for at least one message. C has no control over the message. Consequently, this forgery may only be a minor nonsense to A. So this is the weak. The last one is the weak. What is called attack that can be done on A, because it's only sign or make signature for only one message. So this is the attacks, the five attacks, and what can be done. Okay, Shabab. So we come to the requirement of what of the where is the eraser? Why it is not? So maybe we need to do first. Okay. Oh. Now we come for the requirement of the digital signature must depend on the message sign. So we cannot sign on empty things. You need to sign on the message, and for this reason, the digital signature must depend on the message that is being used for a signature. Must use information unique to the sender. To what? Why? To prevent both forgery and denial. So to provide the non-repetition service, the sender need to use a unique information, which is a private key. So if he sign a message, he cannot deny or what or can be forgery for that signature. And this is the second requirement. Also must be relatively easy to produce. We need to use something easier to make the digital signature must be relatively easy to recognize and verify. If we see anything that being attached to the message, we can say this is a digital signature. So it is easy to be recognized, and also we can do verification and must be invisible to what to fork. I explained this one when I talk with about here. Said that must be when I said if the attacker attack the pub signature, either he changed the message or he changed the signature. So we need to make the digital signature to invisible to fork with the new message for existing digital signature. So the attacker put here a new message and send it to Alice, but keep the pub signature. So this is should be competitionally invisible, can be what figured out by Alice, or he used a fraudulent digital signature. He changed the digital signature and keep the message, the original message. Also, must be invisible to be done like this, because the digital signature we already say is also authentication on the sender and also on the message. If the digital signature is correct, that means the message is correct. So this is the number five requirement. Number six, that we can use the digital signature as a practical. So we can be applied, we can use and take the digital signature. So be practical to save digital signature in storage. We can save it on our computer, on the USB, on the anything that can be used. Yes, the signature. Why it is unique? Because the data signature is depend on the private key. So as we said here, we said that it should be the digital signature from the previous message. Yes, every time that's correct, Muhammad. Every time we use the same private key, but on the message. So each time we have a unique digital signature. So yes, that's correct. It's based on the same digital, private key, but usually we have a different digital signature for each message. It's like a hash. Correct, Muhammad, and I will give you a question mark. Yes. So this is the requirements. We come to just terminology said direct signature, digital signature. Direct means that only sender and receiver is the only parties that is involved in the. So the sender create the digital signature and the receiver is verify the digital signature. So we assume that the receiver had the sender public key as the Alice here. Alice is the here is direct digital signature. The Alice verified the digital signature by creating the hash or here by inserting the signature with the public key. So already the receiver knows the sender public key. Digital signature made by sender signing entire message or hash with the private key. We already explained that. So this is we can do with the DSA, or we can use the RSA and telepathic. We can encrypt the using the receiver public key. After we create the message, either by DSA or by RSA, it's better to encrypt the whole the message and the digital signature with the receiver public key. And we said that this is best because it secure the digital signature from anyone can decrypt it. So important to sign first, then encrypt the message and the signature. Okay, the direct digital signature is only depends on the sender private key. We cannot create the digital signature except with the private key. We cannot use the symmetric key. So this is why we said when we talk about the symmetric, we did not mention or talk about the digital signature. When we come to the public key, we said one of the service that the public key offer is the digital signature, and the other issue is solve the distribution of the symmetric key. Okay, so Al Jamal he has his own algorithm for creating the digital signature. It's not like the RSA is encryption. Elliptic curve is encryption with the private key. The Al Jamal he has his encryption algorithm, and also he has his digital signature scheme. So signature variant of Al Jamal related to the Diffie-Hellman. So this algorithm used the exponential as we explained with security-based difficulty of computing discrete logarithm as a Diffie-Hellman, because the RSA is based on the difficulty of factorization of factorial problem. Okay, so the Jamal, as we said, he has his own algorithm for digital signature. So use the private key for what? For encryption or signing, and use public key for decryption or verification. This is we already know that any digital signature we use the private for signing or encrypt, and we use public to do verification or decrypt. So how we can create the keys and how what we need to do. So here the explanation. As we explained with Diffie-Hellman and with elliptic curve with Al-Jamal, A need to generate, for example, each user need to generate his or her public and private. So A here, for example, Alice, choose like we did with elliptic curve, with Jamal, uh, with I think Diffie-Hellman. They select only the secret key. They choose or select a number. So here the secret key for Alice, which must be greater than 1, less than or equal q minus 1. Okay, and then each user use this equation to calculate or to compute his public key. So this is the public key for Alice. She used the shared value between all the party. All the party will be shared on A and Q, alpha and Q, as we explained with Al Jamal and what is called what the other one, Diffie-Hellman. There is some parameters which be shared. Here with Al-Jamal we almost shared A and Q. So for example, Alice writes the A to her secret key, mod Q, and this will be the public key. So she's going to send or what is called publish her public key to everyone. So here we want to sign the message. How we can do that? So as we know that when we explain the encryption for Jamal, The Jamal sent two parameters C1 and C2 as encryption. Also here, we'll send the signature as S1 and S2. This is the way that Jamal, his algorithm usually make the outcome like this. So come to how to sign the message. So now Alice need to sign the message to Bob. Okay. So Alice generate the hash M for the message, and the hash must be what? Greater than equal 0, less than or equal q minus 1. And we know that if there is a message or something related to the message and there is a limit, if this is increase on the limit, we need to do a block. We need to define the value. Okay, Shabab? So then Alice need to choose what is called random integer. We call it K. It's the same like the encryption. So we use only K in الجمل in the الجمل algorithm for encryption. Just 1 minute to put the. Okay. With the Jamal encryption, we use the same. We select a random integer. So here we select a random integer, which is must be greater than or equal 1 or less than or equal q minus 1. And the second condition that the k and q minus 1, the GCD, is equal 1. Okay. So now we will want to calculate the S1. S1 can be calculated by using the A raised to the random key, random integer, mod Q. So this is the value S1. Then we compute the K minus 1, the inverse of K. The inverse of K mod Q minus 1. Okay. So we need to calculate the inverse of K mod Q minus 1. Okay. So then we create the second value. The second value of the signature is 2. So we come to the S2. First, we bring the S1 multiply by the private key of Alice, because Alice, she want to sign. So we multiply the secret key of Alice to the S1, and then we subtract this value from the hash. Okay, and then multiply it by the k to power minus 1, the inverse of k. And the whole will be divided on q minus 1, we get the remainder. So this is the S2. So now the Alice will send S1, S2 to Bob. So Bob need to verify the message. So he will calculate the value, which we call it V1, and value we call it V2. And then compare V1 with V2. If they are equal, that means the signature is valid. So how the Bob can generate V1, V2. Bob and Alice, they share A, and as we said, they share alpha and Q. They must share it, as we know before when we talk about the encryption. So now Bob writes the A to M that is not being sent by Alice. No. Bob, he has the message, he received the message with the signature, as we know. So he received S1 and S2 with the message. Okay, so he used the message and inserted to the same hash algorithm, and he got the M. So rise A to M, or rise A to M, yes, mod Q. So this is the V1. And then he want to calculate V2. Already he received S1, S2. So he bring the public key of, or he receive, or he knows before the public key of Alice, because Alice, she used her secret key. So here Bob will use public key of Alice, rise to S1, and multiply it by S1 rise to S2, and divide the value that we calculate by Q, and we get the reminder. So this is the V2. Then Bob will, as you said, will compare V1 to V2. If they are compared, that means the signature based on Al-Jamal digital signature is verified and correct. If not compared, that means there is something wrong. Either the message being replaced or the signature. Okay, Shabab? So here there is an example here. I will leave it to you to read that and explain it on the blackboard to get a participation mark. And if there is any things is not clear, just ask me. Okay, Shabab. So the first one who explain how to calculate how to get on the blackboard, he will get the participation mark. So we come to the digital signature standard. We talk about the digital signature, but we have not. We just present the scenario. We need to get to take the message, insert it to the digital signature. We calculate the signature, and here we verify. But we did not talk about the digital signature algorithms. So here we come to explain. We explain that Jamal. Jamal is like RSA is follow this to this what to this scenario, which is take the message, calculate the hash, then do encryption. So this is what was done by Al-Jamal. It's like RSA and elliptic curve. But the digital signature is different. It's only used for digital signature. We call it here standard. So it's being used as a American approved signature scheme designed by NIST, NSA in early 90s. Okay, published in the FIPS 1-86 in 1991, and then being revised in 1993, 1996, then in 2000, and used the secure hash algorithm to do what? To do the hash. Okay, so DSS is the standard and DSA is the algorithm. So there is no difference. With S, that's mean we talk about the standard itself. With the A, we use the algorithm to produce the digital signature. With the FIPS 186-2, which is being revised in 2000, includes also the RSA and the elliptic curve to create the digital signature. It's not only using the DSL with the version in 2000, they include the creating the digital signature by using the RSA and the elliptic curve, as we explain here. This is the scenario of using the RSA and the elliptic. We can use any one here, either RSA or elliptic curve. Okay, Shabab. So the DSA is digital signature only, unlike RSA. This is we already explained when we talk about that table. The DSA is only used for digital signature. RSA can be used for digital signature, for key exchange, for encryption. And the digital signature is a public technique, is one of the public techniques. So here we explain how we can sign by using RSA or elliptic curve and how we can use the DSS. So the RSA is easy, just create the hash as we explain here is almost the same like this one, but this is with a different diagram. So then we encrypt by using RSA, here RSA, okay, and using the private key. This is creating the digital signature. So we concatenate the signature with the message. So this part is for encryption, taking the hash of M encrypted with the private, and then send it to the other party. The other party need to use the same hash function to create the hash value. And here we need to do something before we do compare. We need to decrypt to verify the digital signature. So we use the public key for the sender, for Alice, for example, and then we will have H here. So then we compare the H with the H that being created by the receiver. If both of them is equal, that means the signature is verified. The second scenario, which is using the digital signature standards, we use a different scenario. This is, as we said, is a digital signature. So it's designed for digital signature. So the scenario is different. So we first bring the message and create the hash. Then we insert the hash with other things to the digital signature algorithm. Okay, by inserting the private key and inserting with the global public key. Global public key is shared. Why? Because we use it in the with the receiver side. So that's me. If you see the value being used in a different side, that means being shared. Okay, and sender use what's called like a random key. It's only the sender use that. So all these four value will be inserted to the digital signature algorithm, and the digital signature algorithm will create two value, one called S and the other one called R. This is the digital signature. As the DSS is, I mean, create the value, create the digital signature, create it as S and R. Then combined with the message and send it to the receiver. Receiver, what will do? First, he receive the message. He need to compute the hash. Okay, so this is the first one, which is will be inserted to the digital signature verification algorithm. And this is the first one. The second one, we know that the global public key is being shared. So he will insert the second value is the global public key. The third one is the public key of the sender. The fourth one is the S. And the fifth one is the R. So all of these five value will be inserted to the verification algorithm. And then we will have a value here, which is the result of the verification algorithm. What we need to do, we'll compare it with the R value that which come with it is one element of the digital signature. So we compare the output of the verification with the R. If they are equal, that means the digital signature is correct. This is the digital signature standard. So this is only used for what? To create a digital signature. We will explain this one here. So digital signature algorithm, DSA, okay, will create a 320-bit signature, which is less than 512. That's being created by RSA or aliphatic curve. Okay, so it is a smaller and faster than RSA. And this 320 bits, so S and R, it is 320 bits. So it's only used to be as a digital signature. Okay. Is it secure? Yes, because is depend is like Diffie-Hellman and elliptic curve is no elliptic curve is depend on other scenario. It's like Diffie-Hellman and Al-Jabal is in difficulty of computing discrete logarithm. And the digital signature is almost like Al-Jamal and Snore. It's different than them. It's differ with some way because it's only what it's only create the digital signature. اوكي شباب، في اي سؤال؟
واضح يا دكتور.
واضح؟ طيب الحمد لله. Okay, so it is a replace of الجمل and snow. طيب how we can create the key for DSA? We need to use we call the global BUG. So now we explain how we can create the BUG, and this is will be shared. So have shared global. So this is the global public key BPUG, which is include three value B and Q and G. Okay. So how we can create this? Just we select 160-bit prime number. We call it Q. This is the first value. So then choose a large prime P with the following. So this is the second value B, which is greater than 2 to power L minus 1, less than 2 to power L. L is the value between 512 to 1024, and it is a multiple of 64. So L either 2 by 64 or 3 by 64 or 4 by 64 or 5 by 6, but should be between what? Between 512 and 1000. And Q must be 160. We said Q is 160, but the Q must be what? A divisor of what? Of B minus 1. Okay, this is the second condition for Q. So now we already select B and Q. So how we can find the GG is can be calculated by using the following equation: H to power B minus 1 over divided by Q. And H is between 1 and B minus 1. And H should be satisfied the following equations, that if we bring H to power P minus 1 over Q, model B will be greater than 1. Okay, so then each one who want to use the DSA need to select what a private and public. It's almost like what's called elliptic curve and RS, not RSA, elliptic curve and Diffie-Hellman. He need to choose a private key, which is X must be less than Q, and then any user can compute his H, his Y, which is private key. Okay, public key by using G, write it to his or her secret key mod in P. So each one has his secret and public. Okay. So here, how we can create the DSA signature. So to sign a message M, we need to what? To generate a random signature key, is K, which is we use it here. This one is a random signature key. So this is only be used by who? By the sender, the creator of the signature. Okay, so we need to generate a random signature key, okay, which is K less than Q. K must be random and only be used once, be destroyed after use, and never be reused. Okay, so we explain this one, and inshallah next lecture will explain how to verify that. So the signature, the signer need to compute the following: the R and S, as we saw here in the diagram. So if we use the DSS or the DSA algorithm, the signature will be combined or compromise S and R. So how we can create S of R? R can be computed by raise G to power K to the random signature key model B. Okay شباب. model Q, model B, and the whole value will be what's mod by Q. This is will compute R. We calculate S by what is called doing the following. We multiply the secret key by the value of R and add it to the hash of the message, okay, and multiply by the inverse of the random signature key to power minus 1. The whole value will be what? Divided by Q, and take the remainder, and this one is the S. So now the signer will send the signature RS with the message M. Okay, Shabab, we'll stop here, and inshallah we'll continue. So we have just 2 slides. If you don't mind, we can complete them in 2 minutes or 3 minutes. If you not, we'll go to the next lecture as you would like.
اوكي دكتور.
Okay, what?
خلاص
خليها next lecture ان شاء الله. Okay, ان شاء الله see you ان شاء الله next on Monday.
ان شاء الله.
and ان شاء الله. Okay.
Monday ولا Wednesday؟
Wednesday. نحن اليوم Monday. Wednesday ان شاء الله. طيب نراكم على خير.
يعطيك
السلام
العافية.
عليكم ورحمة الله وإياكم إن شاء الله. مع السلامة.